Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Primetime Sportz Talk, the show where we don't make this stuff up and we do it all in one take. I'm Joey Redmond, this is my partner Rashad Milligan, and after some good victories for both the men's and women's team just 2 days ago, we have to report, unfortunately, that both the men's and women's today against UT Arlington lost in, I don't know if spectacular fashion is the right word, but it was in a way that we'd rather forget, even by this point.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has their rainy days. It even went down to the student media today because, you know, Joey's not feeling the best of ways today. He's a bit of it got colder. Yeah. In the middle of the week, it was warm.
Getting the runny nose.
And Wednesday, it was about, you know, everybody's wearing shorts. On Thursday, everybody was bundled up with 3 layers. So, you know, everybody's kind of sick this weekend, and no one's feeling well, all the way down from the coaches to SIDs and everything. So it's just a weekend you want to forget if you're Georgia State.
I agree. What was kind of interesting, and I really thought I nailed this until I got corrected, but, you know, the Broncos and the Panthers are in the Super Bowl tomorrow. And, man, the color scheme of the game today, it was Panthers versus what looked like the Broncos, because it was a Bronco head, had the orange and blue, but they're called the Mavericks. You know, they're trying to be different or something. So
shouts out to
I was pretty fired up to do like a whole. It was the Panthers versus the Broncos tonight in the sports arena. By the way, Super Bowl's tomorrow, but I can't do that. But I'll do it anyhow, just to kind of fill you guys in on what I was thinking. I still think it's cool. I might just call on the Broncos for the rest of the broadcast, just because I think it sounds better. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna confuse people. So let's run to the women's game, shall we? Look, we've been criticized and called out for the way we talk about the women's basketball team. I think a few times.
This is true.
I have been called out. I know our buddy David has been called out. At least the two of us. I'm sure more of us have had some comments thrown our way. But look, we don't try to make them feel bad.
We don't.
We don't try to make them look bad.
If we don't want to do it.
But when you play bad, guess what? We have bad things to say. Right? And this game was absolutely, without a doubt, no exception.
You ever took algebra in grade school? It's like if 2x plus the insert of y equals so-and-so, this is going to happen.
Right.
And so if you play bad, extremely bad, and it's not even that you play bad, you just look bad as a team, you're not cohesive, nothing's working, then, you know, we're going to talk about you like you played bad.
We've talked about before, especially early on in this series of shows, the women having 10 new players on the roster this year. We were looking forward to, especially I was looking forward to Sharon Baldwin-Tenner, the head coach, a veteran coach. I believe this is her 7th year as the head coach, maybe the 6th year. She's been here for a long time.
Just got an extension.
Right, and I was looking forward to seeing how she would go about bringing these 10 players together for the season. I came out early after the first game against Kennesaw University away that the women would have a better record at the end of this season than last season. I don't yet really know if that's going to be the case. They continue to, I seem like, impress me and then let me down. And then impress me and then let me down. And it's very, very back and forth. At this point in the year, honestly, if the chemistry still doesn't exist, I don't know if it's ever really going to click. They've had a lot of time together. Against UT Arlington today, the Mavericks' defense was the purest form of a lockdown defense, realistically. I mean, the final score, by the way, was 45-74, and that point margin is perfectly indicative of how well UT Arlington played over our Lady Panthers.
Wow, indicative.
Vocabulary. I'm pulling the Stephen A. Smith, the thesaurus, right out of my back pocket. I'm trying to use bigger words.
Reading is fundamental, kids.
It is fundamental. But you know what else is fundamental? Is playing fundamental basketball is fundamental, which the women didn't do. Look, and I got to credit UT Arlington for actually playing lights out. You know, when we have also criticized the Lady Panthers for not being able to hit three-pointers. I have said that myself. I think the last time I was on the show, I made a comment, just stop shooting threes. There is nobody on the team that can consistently and reliably shoot a three-pointer. It doesn't exist. And today, no exception. They were on three-pointers 7 for 21. Excuse me.
Makiba Ponder, 3 for 10. Just in case you were wondering on the update of Makiba Ponder.
Right.
And back to that first episode, I remember a lot of times I said, they're going to get it figured out around February. I spoke with one of the coaches at Waffle House before a game, and I was like, you guys should get it all together, have it figured out, have the team back. And mid-February, hit your stride, and peak before, Sun Belt tournament time. But
right. It's not going to happen. And I continue to make comments in the past about how when teams realize that you're not good at shooting threes, they're going to allow you to take those shots from the arc. And they're going to take all of their defensive strategy and concentrate it in the paint. When you watched UT Arlington go up against the Panthers, it was amazing to watch the moment the ball got within spitting distance of the paint. There were at least 3 defenders ready to crash whoever had the ball and keep them from being able to shoot. It happened on every single one of our offensive possessions throughout the entire game. And every time that we had a shot at a three-pointer, they would sort of give us a little bit of distance to try to keep us from shooting the ball inside, let us take the 3, and look, it worked well because once again, we shot horrible numbers with 7 for 21 on 3.
UT Arlington was 8 for 23, just for the record, from 3. But if we're talking about just, it comes down to like they're a young team. And you really see that in the way they were playing. They were down by 20-something points. What were they doing? They were shooting threes.
They were. Just trying to come back. They're just trying to save face.
If you ever played NBA Live or 2K growing up, you know the best way to come back is not shooting threes. It's to go in the paint, shoot the 2s, take as many 2s as you can, and before you know it, you'll be back in the game.
We should also mention, I think, that UT Arlington was significantly larger than we were.
Oh, yeah.
They were taller. I mean, most of their players had to be an average of 3-4 inches taller than even our own tallest players. Which I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think our tallest player, it's either Morgan Jackson or Haley Guerin, I believe, are the tallest.
I think Haley is probably the tallest.
Haley may be the tallest. I think she's over 6 feet tall. 6'2"? Okay, so I'm pretty sure Haley Guerin's the tallest. Yeah. And there were people on UT Arlington, I think at least 2 people, even taller than 6'2". Yeah. So a lot of times in the paint, all you saw was somebody chuck it in from the arc, and I think it was their 44 and their 25 were just sort of standing in the paint and would just pick the ball up over somebody's head and drop it in the basket.
2 names that we cannot pronounce.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try. Just for the
Rebecca
Vanditch?
Vanditch.
I'm going to go Vanditch, and then T.O. Allison.
Like Manti Teo.
Yeah,
Allison Teo.
Allison Teo. I'm saying it backwards. But look, you can't defend that. You know, you're exploiting part of our team. Yeah. We're short. We're tiny, and that doesn't necessarily mean you're bad at basketball.
I mean, but not even size. They just outplayed us.
Yes,
in every aspect of the game. That their guards were running around us on the court. They were out rebounding us, as you said.
Do you think that looking over from the Panthers' perspective, looking over at the Arlington bench, do you think that observing how big they were played a little bit of a factor in maybe confidence?
I think honestly, just the problem today was one team had chemistry. They knew each other. The other team didn't. Georgia State doesn't have chemistry. They look like a mess out there. The women's team is nothing's clicking. Like Haley Guerin had a couple of possessions back-to-back where she did something. Alaysia Mitchell had one good-looking rebound.
Right. I mean, you had 2 people on the Arlington team score 16 total points, and a third person score 15. They have shooters. They have people that can play all times.
It was nothing just extremely dominant. It was just one team knew each other. It even started from the beginning. UT Arlington in starting lineups, they were dancing and hugging and smiling and laughing on the bench. They dabbed every time they made a free throw. They got it. They were together with each other. Georgia State doesn't have that.
I'll give the girls a little bit of a credit, the Lady Panthers a little bit of credit, because they did, and what may be contrary to the belief of those that watched the game, we actually had more steals than UT Arlington. Yeah. We had 8 steals, UT Arlington had 7. But even that alone sounds impressive, but if you have more steals than the other team, you should be able to find more chances to score points. Yeah. And that wasn't happening on our side of the ball.
Well, speaking of that, UT Arlington had 30 points off of turnovers, and we had 5.
Oh, yeah. There you go. See? That's exactly what I was trying to get at.
Exactly.
30 points to 5 on turnovers. Amazing.
And we had more steals.
Right. But every game, regardless of performance, unless you're Jared Oliver, and we're going to keep saying that. Yeah. Somebody has to get the game ball. You have to. So you still had to think about yours.
I still had to think about it before we recorded, but okay. I think I have it.
I'll go first then, in case you need to take a little bit more time.
Gotcha.
I made a couple of comments during the game about this player. I was impressed. She didn't lead the team in scoring. She was third in total minutes on the game. I was just impressed with the physicality. It seemed like she was always trying, even when it seemed hopeless, and that's Haley Guerin. It's good to see her getting some more playing time. You know, it's good to see her getting back in the full rotation after being out for a few weeks to start the season. But she just impressed me. You know, when everything looked down, for some reason I feel like I kept seeing Haley Guerin in the middle of the action. So for that reason, I'm gonna pick up this ball, I'm gonna pick up this marker, and I'm gonna write that little that H G dot right there. That's beautiful.
I hope she teaches us how to decorate our dorms, you know, HGTV. Hey, yo.
Man, if you need decoration, you call her. Here, I'm going to pass this back to you.
All right.
You go. What's your game ball?
My game ball. Okay, it wasn't, I was thinking maybe Haley. Already taken.
Okay.
So.
You can copy me.
No. It's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
We're original here at PTT.
That's fine.
Makiba Ponder had the best statistics. 12 points, 4 rebounds.
As we expect her to.
3 assists.
She's supposed to be the leader.
Yeah, she's supposed to be the leader, the second team preseason All-Sun Belt player. But I'm going to give it to someone who only had 4 points. Morgan Jackson.
Good choice.
And Morgan Jackson, she just does it in ways that you don't see on the stat sheet. It seems every time, like, no matter how down they are, she's always just positive, playing her hardest, and helping the team, like, in other ways. I don't know.
I understand what you're trying to convey.
She has an X factor.
It's something you have to watch.
Every team needs a Morgan Jackson on their squad. And she has a high basketball IQ, even though she looks clumsy while she's doing it. She gets the job done. She's going to get you a couple points. She's going to get you a couple of those hustle plays that you need to win. And although it's unfortunate they're not winning, Morgan Jackson is a leader. So here's to you, Morgan.
I love that. I've even made some comments before in the past about how I wish other players would look up to Morgan more in bigger situations. You can write it down here a little bit, I think.
I got you.
Yeah, I've given her the game ball, I think, one time in the past, and I still stand by that. That's a good choice. I like Morgan Jackson.
And what about her initials, MJ?
MJ. See, you know what?
Initials.
All I'm saying is it seems like it's fate, you know, MJ. But the other game, the men's game.
Okay.
Right?
Let's move on.
I already said they took a loss. You can spin it that it was maybe a worse loss than the women if you look at the scores, 69-90.
This one.
That was a heavy 21-point L. But before we even talk about the players, I got to get something off my chest. I feel like everybody that watched that game has to get something off their chest.
I got something.
Those officials, and look, before people start giving me a hard time about the losing team fans calling out the officials, how typical. Listen, we have spent a lot of time on this show, and I, with confidence, can say we have never had a problem or raised issue with officiating before in a win or a loss.
Yep.
We have never done that on this show. This time, however, that's going to change. These officials were maybe some of the most garbage officials I have ever seen in collegiate basketball, especially in my time here at Georgia State. Anytime watching college basketball on television, they were atrocious. And it did seem rather one-sided. Yeah. It did seem like every little thing, whether it even existed or not, was getting called against us. And then UT Arlington men were going to the line and making their threes, right? Or their free throws, excuse me. It was absolutely one of the most painful things to witness as a fan. Especially as a fan, you know you can be so helpless. Even Coach Ron Hunter got a technical for being so vocal about how unbelievably bad the officials were. And I think it was a very valid reason to get a technical. He's trying to keep his players from ending up in a tough spot with these refs, and he did everything he could to try to rectify the situation. But at the end of the day, those refs, I don't want to put the whole 21-point loss on the officials, but a lot of these 90 points came from free throws for UT Arlington. And if those didn't exist, there is no doubt that this would have been a closer game. So the refs definitely played a big part into a 21-point loss.
Yeah, the refs played a big part in it, but the thing is, with the bad officiating, my opinion about it is they lost by 21 points.
Yeah.
That's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points.
To put the blame on the officiating. The officiating was horrid, as Joey said, but at the end of the day, the players got to show it too. The team has to play past that. There's going to be some bad refs. It's the Sun Belt Conference, for crying out loud. If you're talking about football season, it was the exact same way. The Sun Belt refs were horrible. But, you lost by 21 points.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I did emphasize I'm not going to give the whole deficit on behalf of the refs.
I'd like to...
yeah, go ahead.
This year's team, I've defended them from the beginning of the year before the season started. Everybody was like, oh, what are they going to do without RJ? What are they going to do without Ryan Harrell? I was like, oh, don't worry. These guys got it. I seen Kevin Ware step up in situations last season when he was needed to. But Kevin Ware, 12 points today. And what is this? This says 40 minutes of action, the stat sheet does.
Oh, yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, probably. Jeremy Hollowell, 6 points. These are supposed to be the team's leaders. If you look at last year's team, they lost 3 games, a total of 3 games by double digits. That's it. Although, you could say, oh, the team last year was losing games, they were struggling too. They lost by 3-4 points, double overtime against Texas State at home. They didn't lose at home like this. They didn't get embarrassed twice by 18-point margins, 21-point margins. Are you serious? This team has already lost in February 5 times by double digits, compared to 3 times last season in the entire season. If you talk about, Ryan Harrell, his season low, other than a couple games where he, left early in the first half due to injury, 12 points against Iowa State, the 14th ranked Iowa State in the nation. R.J. Hunter, he had a couple off games. 4 points against UT Arlington, ironically, was his season low for points. Kevin Ware, 12 points. Jeremy Hollowell, 6 points. This is something that we see on a regular basis now. And it gets to the point where it's like, okay, who is it? Before the season, we had Isaiah Dennis getting the keys to the Mercedes.
All that stuff. I think it's safe to say he's lost that.
He's lost
at least
that.
In our minds.
Well, but, he had a game against App State last month where he had 17 points.
One game doesn't make you a leader. One game doesn't make you a leader.
One game doesn't make you the leader, but it's like Isaiah Dennis is struggling. Maybe Jeff Thomas was going to step up. Jeff Thomas has been non-existent all season, for most part of the season, not all season. Kevin Ware and Jeremy Hollowell were the 2 guys that we were kind of looking towards. They're the ones with the big college experience, Louisville, Indiana, guys that stepped up at the beginning of the year against smaller colleges, and we thought they were going to lead us to the promised land, or at least to the Sun Belt tournament. It doesn't even look like, I don't even know if we're going to make the tournament.
Right.
Doug Roberson from the AJC in the press conference asked, do you think we'll get a top 4 seed? And, Ron Hunter obviously said, we're looking at day-to-day.
Right.
But I don't even know if they're going to make the tournament. Forget the top 4 seed.
Right.
This team looks bad. They're 13-8, 6-6 in the Sun Belt. That's not that bad. But to Georgia State standards, we're not used to losing like this. Coach Hunter isn't used to losing like this. I'm not used to seeing them lose like this at home.
Right.
I haven't seen them lose at home since I've been here. Now I've seen 2 losses by double digits. Are you serious? Where's your pride? Right. Where's your pride? Do you care? Do you care for the program's history? If you're gonna get mad and throw hissy fits on Twitter and blame this person and blame this, then win. How about you do that? How about you win instead of just talking? Oh, I'm mad. We gonna get back on track. R.J. Hunter left Twitter. Okay, R.J. Hunter left Twitter when it was time to play. He left Twitter during the season. He was like, oh, okay, I'm shutting down Twitter. I'm focused on basketball. Ryan Harrell didn't even get a Twitter after he left Kentucky.
Right.
Those guys were focused. And you're going to go to Twitter and, they're playing, we're going to get it right. Don't worry about that. We're going to do this, that. Nick Arbuckle left Twitter before this year's football season. If you're really focused and trying to get off Twitter, get off social media, you don't want to win. I don't see any of these guys want to win. I don't see it from TJ Shipes. I don't see it from Marcus Kreider is always in foul trouble. You're a senior, man. What are you guys doing? Out like you want to win.
I think you make good points. And to this team's defense, while I don't necessarily think they have a big one, they do have or did have big shoes to fill. And people kind of wrote a lot of that as a given, I think, before the start of the season. Like, Ron Hunter's coming back when originally it was kind of up to chance as to whether or not he would be, because after winning in the NCAA tournament, maybe he would go to a bigger school, get some more money, but he stuck around. A few of the better players from last season stuck around, but we lost pretty much apparently all of our key guys that put us in positions. So I almost am to a point where I'm comfortable blaming the Georgia State media and the fans for expecting too much from this team before the start of the season. And maybe they even expected too much from themselves. It's hard to say, because as an athlete myself, someone that played a lot of sports growing up, you always put yourself to a higher standard.
You do.
You always want to see yourself do well. So I can't criticize the team.
Jeremy Hollowell went to Indiana.
Well, I can't criticize a team for wanting to put themselves in a higher position, put themselves on a pedestal, right? Make themselves. I mean, they're two-time regular season Sun Belt Conference champions. They were Sun Belt Conference, tournament champions after that, and then they won in the March Madness tournament. And it was like, holy cow! Look, Georgia State is going on a roll. Hopefully we'll see this play for a few years. But other than those amazing programs that, for some reason, always seem to be in contention, no matter how often there's player turnover. Bottom line is, college sports have the highest turnover rate of any other major sport in the world, right? All college sports, because everybody transfers. You're only there for about 4 years, sometimes 3 years if you graduate earlier, declare eligible for a draft to go pro, all kinds of stuff. So it's hard to continue that chemistry.
It's hard.
And I don't know if the players that we thought were going to be the ones to lead the team truly ended up being capable of doing it, and I'm willing to pull them out of contention for March Madness tournament.
Oh, definitely.
I'm willing to do that.
Point.
I'm willing to do that. That hurts. I want to clarify that hurts to say that.
I defended these guys 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, when everybody was, this team doesn't have the will. I was like, okay, last year's team had the same thing. Last year's team had the same problems, and they pulled it together when it mattered most. But I don't see that same fight from last year's team that I see in this team. This year's team, yet today, they fought back and they brought it back to 12, in the closing minutes before losing by 21. I don't see it. Like, these guys, you got to step up. When you see your team, you can't just get mad and foul out. You can't foul. TJ Shipes and Marcus Carter foul all the time. These guys are seniors.
Right.
TJ Shipes and Marcus Carter are seniors.
Yeah, Marcus Carter fouled out today.
But it's every other game. TJ Shipes fouls out or Marcus Carter fouls out. We need you guys. You guys are our only big men. You guys are our only seniors in the front court. We need you guys.
And you can't criticize their physicality, but there is a difference between being physical and being responsible.
Yeah.
And again, these refs were trash. So maybe
the refs were bad.
Maybe today fouling out can't be.
Fouling out can't be as bad.
Right.
Because they were calling it if I did like this. They were calling it. And then on the other end, if you fell down, they didn't call anything.
A couple times on Shipes, Arlington players were pushing off of him, and Shipes is getting the foul, mostly on rebounds.
Yeah.
I think pretty much all of TJ Shipes' fouls came on rebounds, because he's a big guy, physical. He loves going up and getting the ball, and I love that about Shipes.
Yeah.
But people would push off him because he's bigger, and they'd fall, and he would get the foul, and it doesn't make any sense.
I want to bring up back your point about defending college sports and the turnover rate and everything. Mm-hmm. Those other programs, Duke, Kentucky, see, when you build a program and a tradition of winning, as Coach Hunter has done since he's came to Georgia State, you come with those expectations. Mm-hmm. You come with that realization, okay, Jeremy Hollowell came from Indiana University. Jeremy Hollowell played a decent amount of minutes at IU. And he came into this season against the smaller schools. I think I already said this. I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah.
20-something points. You know, Kevin Ware, 20-something points. You know, we've seen these guys. We know they can play. So, what you doing? What you doing, man?
Right.
What you doing? We need y'all.
Right. And I think, again, this had a lot to do with the refs. So our comments aren't necessarily just about this game.
Well, I don't know about Jeff Thomas going 2 for 6 from 3. Jeff Thomas' shot has been off for 98% of the games this season. He's only shown up for about 2 games this year. And granted, he's a freshman. He didn't play all last year. But still, man, like, if you're going to take that many threes, man, you're supposed to be the shooter. We can't have you having bad games, off games every single game, man. I feel like we're telling the same narrative after every single game for these guys. The same excuses. It's February, man. It's Black History Month. Y'all got 1 month to get it together. Y'all got a couple weeks to get it together, actually. Or y'all not even going to be in New Orleans.
Right.
Forget, I don't know if we're going to make it. You know, y'all got to win. It's time for y'all to wake up.
Let's talk about a little bit of positivity then, because I want to highlight somebody, and I'm not switching to game balls just yet. This isn't my game ball recipient, but I just want to shout somebody out.
Yeah.
Malik Ben-Levy.
Definitely.
I mentioned in the very first couple episodes, I don't remember which one it was. I think I was on here with Caleb.
Yeah.
I said I really like him. You know, I really like him, and he's never impressed on the stat sheet.
Yeah.
But he went from not getting much playing time to starting a couple of games to this game. Let me see, where are his minutes? You have his minutes on that sheet. I got a different stat line.
I have
than
his
you
minutes.
do. Where's Malik Ben-Levy's minutes? We're right here. Go across. Did he have 20?
20.
Yeah, Malik
20 minutes.
Ben-Levy had 20 minutes today, and that is awesome. And again, he didn't blow your mind on the stat sheet.
I like Ben-Levy.
I do like Ben-Levy too, and I'm proud of him for continuing to improve his game. I'm proud of him for earning some more minutes. He is aggressive. I said that from the get-go. He's very aggressive.
I like him.
He's always in the action, and I'm still a huge fan of Malik Ben-Levy, and he's still a freshman this year, so he's getting adjusted. But I hope as the years progress, this is the kind of guy that we see stick around, because I still expect even bigger things, and he's gone on improving so far this season.
Also, I want to clear something up. Kevin Ware had a cast on his hand today, and he balled out in the first half.
Yes.
So
yes.
Good job, Kevin Ware, in the first half.
Is this a good transition to
game balls?
Game balls?
Go ahead.
We're talking about good players now, so maybe we go game ball.
Yeah.
You go first this time.
Okay.
Get it.
Game ball. Men's game. It's been a tough game, obviously, as I just elaborated about. So I think I'm going to give it to... How about you go first, Joey?
You want me to go over? You just want to think? All right, my decision's easy. I won't even hesitate. Kevin Ware. And it's for exactly the reasons that Rashad talked about earlier. Because, well, I get it. Second half wasn't great. Realistically, nobody's second half was great. So I'm just going to put it in the first half because Kevin Ware was fire from the beginning, all the way up until, the first half. Or the second half, excuse me. He was stealing the ball. He was making threes. He was making deep twos. He was getting rebounds. He was getting steals. I feel like every time I saw something great happen in the first half, Kevin Ware was the reason that something great was going on. So Kevin Ware, hats off, buddy. Even in a tough one, you pulled through. As a leader should, right? A veteran Georgia State basketball player. I'm proud of you, man. I know we had some Twitter issues with you a couple of days ago. You feeling a little bit of heat, a little bit of fire. This has nothing to do with that. No. I just mean this literally, very seriously. You did great. You did great. So very, very well done, sir.
Kevin Ware did his thing. Didn't show up in the second half, but he was hurt.
Right.
I'm going to give it to Isaiah Williams.
That's fair. That's a good one.
Isaiah Williams had 14 points today. From 3, he went 2 for 3. Made all 4 of his free throws. So you, sir, get the game ball for today.
That's a solid pick. Isaiah has impressed me as the season's gone on.
Isaiah started off kind of rocky, kind of shaky along with Jeff Thomas, but he's came along since then.
Right.
So hats off to Isaiah. This team, I'm sorry. I was just venting as a fan. But Isaiah Williams, Ben Levy, I'm sorry. You guys have some good sparks, some good moments. The team has some smart spots.
There's
hope. They got to wait. It's same with the women's.
Yeah.
KK Williams, Madison Newby. Those 2 freshmen right there.
Yep. David always highlights Madison.
They're gonna be something in the future.
Absolutely.
The future is bright for Georgia State basketball. That's why we're so hard on you guys, because the talent is there, the expectation is there. So.
But we'll see. We'll see as things progress.
Yeah,
but
we'll see
I think that's going to wrap it up. This was fun, Rashad. Hey, we'll see you guys for some more Georgia State basketball in later on. Joey Redmond, Rashad Milligan signing off.